Hello and welcome to Making Events Matter. I'm Dom Honey from Event Results, and I'm here with long-term collaborator and old mate Steve Bather. Steve's the boss of the Realise Group. We've spent our careers turning events from just another gathering to making them matter. And today we're going to get into some of the AI assisted and supported things and activities we've been doing recently. Hello, Steve.
Hello, Dom. How's it going? Glad to be here.
Yeah, great. Can't believe it's March already, and we're on episode 14. But yeah, so we've been really working hard on using AI in our sort of event production workflow. What's been keeping
About
you
time for
busy?
an update.
Time for an update.
I've literally just come off a webinar for a national safeguarding, children's safeguarding organization, where we were looking at disseminating learnings from recent reviews. And we had over 400 people on the webinar, which seems like a very large number of people to manage. But what we are trying to do is give everybody access to be able to comment and question and respond to what they're being told. So the review is quite a formal process that leads to a number of specific recommendations, which the safeguarding partnerships around the country are sort of mandated to pick up on and apply within their safeguarding partnership, which is a combination of police, health, local authority, and many other organisations that are, responsible and involved in safeguarding children in their local areas.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of questions. We had over 200 questions. And of course, they come in. We use a platform called XSleep, which allows people to anonymously contribute, which we think kind of frees people up to say what they actually think and behave with a little bit more candor than they would by disclosing themselves as wanting to know the answer to this question as the person they are within their safeguarding partnership. And of course, we've got early career people, we've got some very experienced people, and a broad range of people who are participating on the webinar.
Yeah, but specifically on the AI front, weren't you using AI really in an unusual way with respect to the report? So you've done a kind of an A/B test of here's the report. How much time does it save you from actually doing it in the old way? Wasn't that something you were working with them?
So if you think about the situation live, when as the host for the webinar, I'm looking at over 200 comments coming in, and they're coming in at kind of quite a steady rate over the period of time, 25-40 minutes of presenting. I'm trying to identify themes. I'm trying to pick up on specific questions that represent that theme so that they are the appropriate questions to ask the panel. I'm also trying to identify the questions that are points of clarification or potential misunderstanding from the audience in what the panel have said, to give the panel members the opportunity to kind of reiterate what they meant. And then there's a number of questions that kind of spin off into other topics and other conversations that need to be had, because they're kind of forward-looking ideas about perhaps how to implement the learning. So live at the moment, what I'm really looking at is how I can get AI to constantly monitor what's coming in and help me with that theming process, because at the moment I'm simply putting it on a piece of paper and trying to identify the relative themes and the number of comments that relate to it.
Yes.
Immediately after the webinar, in order to provide the panel members with an opportunity to see the shape and the content that has been captured and respond to some of the specific questions, but more generally to the topics I've identified. I use a method which I've used for many years, which is to take that content and then theme it just by clicking and dragging it again within the XSleep tool. If there was an AI generated process that could help with that, then I'm investigating how to do that. As an interim, what I've done is I've used AI to theme, giving it certain parameters and guidance, theme it into the topics, and then compare and contrast with my manual process, which of course I've been doing for many years. So I consider myself kind of pretty good at identifying different themes. And the overlap is something between, it's an 80-20 overlap. We get the same themes in 80% of the case, and then the others are open to interpretation. But it's a fascinating kind of opportunity to improve efficiency and get the questions back to the panel very quickly, because they need to get on with that immediately after, because we publish the full webinar video, the slides, of course, and then this dialogue with answers from the panel. So it's all about speed, it's all about efficiency, and it's all about kind of stepping up and getting AI to do what it does best.
Yeah, and I guess when you've got that many people on a call all interacting and sharing information, and you're also listening to talks or presentations or subject matter experts, then this is even for an hour's webinar, it's still a lot of content to process, and trying to manage all of that is a skill. It's one that you've got, but not everybody's got. But certainly AI is going to help in that area. It's certainly a process of extreme multitasking that you can do for short periods of time, because I've also got a back channel with the national panel members, which is on WhatsApp, where they're directing me to questions that they think are relevant that we should answer. And as you said, I'm trying to listen to the presentation to know at what point we're coming to, and monitoring the participants and fixing any sort of issues they've got in getting to the forum and so on. So but you've been playing around with these event apps and trying to get them sort of more focused on specific requirements from clients, and playing around with AI actually generating apps. Yeah, that's right. I got very excited in the last couple of weeks over what Gemini in particular can do. So that's my AI of choice, and I've been absolutely blown away. I'm no coder, I'm not even a happy amateur. I wouldn't go anywhere near code. And over the years, like you, have built various softwares, or rather been part of teams that have led the projects to build code around for events, particularly interactive audience response apps. And we even did like an auction platform called Giving Live, which we launched many years ago. So been around developers for a lot of time and seen the bills that come in and the time it takes and the bugs that need to be squashed and the effort required by seemingly loads of people to deliver a particular product or app. And so I got online with Gemini, I think last week, and asked it to build me a simple messaging / Q&A app. And lo and behold, it did it to my absolute incredulity. So I've got an admin, I've got an audience facing view, and I've got a main screen, a beautiful main screen, all that syncs up. And I did it essentially for free, or rather Gemini did it for me. And I'm not saying it's necessarily production ready, but it demonstrates, as a case study, it demonstrates the ability of AI to build custom bespoke apps for any purpose. To be honest, you just have to know what to ask it and be prepared to put a little of elbow grease into formatting it into exactly what you want. And this all stemmed actually from a desire to upgrade the engagement reports that we provide post an app deployment. So previously I took a load of different data or stats from the different platforms in use and merged it into one hopefully interesting PDF that demonstrated the activity and engagement that the app had generated by the attendees or participants. And I asked Gemini again to process this and sort of make it more interactive and interesting. And it took all the numbers out of the PDF and presented a web page which was both cleaner, clearer, and interactive. And as a sort of an upgrade on a flat PDF. It's a really nice thing, I think, to present to the client. Probably the best kind of report I've ever prepared, and it was done by AI. So
Brilliant.
So yeah. So
I mean,
I
guess one of the frustrations that we've shared over the years is that when we're selecting commercially available tools to support events, we're kind of working on an 80-20, where 80% of the functionality is what we need.
Exactly.
20% is sort of either additional to what we need, or is kind of an irritating barrier of some sort.
Or you have to find a workaround to do exactly what you want, and there isn't a main screen that can present your data properly. You have to use the user or the admin to show clean data. Whereas this approach, I could be really specific about what I wanted. So, for example, I wanted anonymous input as well as declared. So I wanted people not to have to be able to put their name, have their name associated, like you were talking about anonymous with XSleep. But I also wanted it to be really easy to post a particular question for a particular speaker, which no messaging app
it's
has,
either or,
because it's of no consequence. But for the events that I support, I think it's nice to be able to, if a person's got a particular question for a particular person or panel, that they can select that. And so having those sorts of things, being able to switch off the chat, if you want to pause it and focus people on what's being talked about from the stage, that was another thing that's quite handy to be able to do. So, so to be able to tailor and customize, I think you're spot on. To be able to tailor and customize a particular tool within an overall event app or within an overall engagement. Let's say a client said, "I'd really like to have a networking game, or I'd like to have a treasure hunt, but I like it like this and I want it like that." And there's nothing off the shelf that really does the job. Then I would imagine with enough time and effort, you could probably get Gemini or another AI coding tool to build it and answer the need directly. I think it's, now I've proved the concept. I think there's a lot of scope for using this in more creative ways.
Yeah, and we're very much at the beginning of this journey. AI has been around functionally for a couple of years.
That's
and
right.
In 2 years' time, God knows where it's going to be. I was just reflecting back, you mentioned your auction tool, and I remember building that. And my experience with working with developers has often been, certainly frustrating, but has taken a long time because you're describing an environment that they don't know. Equally, you don't know their environment in terms of what they're coding. So why is anonymity important? Well, you have to experience that in a large group to see how willing people are to say what they really think in that environment. That just doesn't happen when they have to disclose their name, or their name's automatically attached to that comment. And that's one of the most difficult things previously that has been to code. So the fact that you can almost interact, well, there's a question. Is it kind of, what does it feel like when you're interacting with Gemini compared to how you were when you were perhaps briefing a team of developers at the beginning of a project to design an app?
Wildly easier and quicker. It's obviously, in my reflection, the software tools available today, and I won't go into detail, but it's clear that the browser technology is obviously much better. The back-end databases are much better than they used to be. And the look and feel that can be presented via a browser is, and an AI understands what a messaging app is. When we were building Collaborate and Giving Live years ago, these sorts of tools, which are like messaging or admittedly anonymous, weren't available. So, you had to build from scratch. Whereas today, if you tell an AI I want a messaging app, it knows immediately that it's going to have replies and reactions and how the messaging should be laid out. And it just seemed to know it. I didn't have to tell it how to structure the comments.
Amazing.
And the, and in fact, I didn't show you earlier, but it's that tool's got commenting as well. So you can go in and reply to people a particular message thread. So, it's, as a sort of a minimum viable product, it gets there quickly, and it gets there in a way that looks really, good and responsive.
Yeah, I think just to underline one of the things you kind of mentioned there briefly, that it's all in the browser.
Yeah.
For many of the last 30 years, we've been dogged by having to have an app that's installed on a, bring your own device or, a client's infrastructure, which for obvious reasons is pretty much impossible when you're working with, police and government and organizations that are quite sensitive about their security, which of course they should be. And the fact that this is now contained all in HTML in the browser is an incredible breakthrough for that flexibility of access from literally anywhere on any device.
It's a really good point. I wanted to be able to put this chat/question app inside an event app. So as you know, Swapcard is my app of choice.
Yes.
And I wanted to be able to publish the chat app inside the interactive panel of Swapcard for each session, and it did that without complaining at all. So now what previously we had was, if we had 5 sessions across a morning in the app, each interactive session would be a different one. As soon as you went to the next session, you'd lose all the previous comments and chat from the other session. But now what I can do is I can have one chat or question app that persists across all of the different sessions across the day. So there's always a history of what's been said and who to whom and all the rest of it. Although it's possible, obviously, to have new ones. For a lot of customers, they actually just want to see the chat as it builds up over the course of the day, not discrete sort of session-based chats. It's also confusing for attendees to go from one session to another and go, where was the question I've just asked or whatever. And
of course, incredibly important for the legacy to the event and creating assets and having, meaningful dialogues and reports based on what was actually said and what was exchanged in the event. It's fascinating. I think we're early days. I can see that we're both excited about it and the impact it's going to have on live events, both online and in person. Watch this space.
Yeah, definitely. It's I'm really excited about the potential for this particular sort of strand of work and activity and how it might develop. Brilliant, Steve. Thanks ever so much.
Good. All right. And any listeners out there, if you have your own stories about AI in events, or you would like us to investigate a particular track, then just let us know in the comments, and remember to subscribe and like. Thanks,
Brilliant.
Dom.
Thanks, Steve. Cheerio.